Hi, nhớ xong ít người Hải cũng bên câu cho ba. Để xí cô Hải nói xí xong thế là bé xí thả mà cô Hải to để xí cho nên tôi cho cô Hải speech again maybe cô Hải xí xong vào bỏ thế okay, so cô Hải bị cà bị gì nè, okay. So nhớ xong một chào, okay. So good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to thank Hmong Lee USA for inviting me to speak in regards to business. It is an honor to have this privilege to tell you about myself and my history from start until now. Again, my name is Cao, or Gao Zhokpa. Last name is Lee-Hines. My last name is not Hines, it's not Lee, it's Lee-Hines. The reason why I kept my last name is because Hmong, okay? And Hmong Lee, I'm a Lee. I'm married to my husband Patrick. Okay, so before I start anything, so please, Mr. Lee and Mrs. Lee, okay? So this is my mom and my dad. Okay? Maybe but anyway, that's my mom right there, okay? And my husband Patrick, right there. He's got the most hair out of all of you guys, okay? But anyways, Patrick and I are current owners of the Asia supermarket. But before I tell you about myself, I would like to tell you about my parents and their history. Because their history is my history. Because I'm not who I am without them. Okay? So my parents, like many Hmong families who had many children, are just like you guys, you and your children. There was a total of 7 of us, 4 sons and 3 daughters, and they currently have over 20 grandchildren. But just like many of you guys, they came over to the US not knowing the language, but we as children grew up assimilating to the American culture and learning the language. So after we came here, after the fall of our homeland to the Lao communists in 1975, we became refugees in the Thailand camps of Nong Khai and Vinai. November 26, 1979, we became refugees and moved to Santa Ana, USA, California, USA. In 1980, we made our way to Merced, California, which is about 2 hours south of Sacramento for those that do not live here in California, 99 South, okay? And that is where my dad's family lived. So from there in 1984, my parents started a small business cutting grass in people's yards and cleaning homes, offices, and apartments. So here we are in this country that we knew nothing of, and my parents are trying to figure out how to feed 7 kids and live. So they started their own business cutting grass. I was too young to help them, but I know my older siblings did. And I remember stories of how nice some of these homes they serviced were. These big mansions, these big yards, these people with pools. Here they were cutting lawns and yearning and learning and realizing this is what I want for my family. This is what I can have. How do I get there? So with the money that they earned, they were able to buy a house. Now this isn't a big house, but it was a big house to us. It had 4 bedrooms, 2 bathrooms, 2 living rooms, a formal dining room. I mean, to many at that time, it was a mansion. And there was 9 of us living in there. So my parents were giving us the best that they can by giving us a home to live in, by educating us, by teaching us, by allowing us to go to school. So in 1987, they thought, what else can they do to survive? We can't cut lawns forever. What else can we do? So how do we become our own bosses? So after earning enough money, they opened up their first store called Lee's Video and Fashion in Merced. Our first store was located on 21st Street on the outer edge of Merced. And then we moved to downtown Merced. We used to sell clothes, shoes, and rent movies. Now I know you guys are all as old as I am. And we used to rent VHS tapes, not CDs, not DVDs, but VHS, where you played it all and then you had to rewind it all, right? Rewind, right? So I remember we used to watch all the Thai dramas, right? 20 VHS tapes. And you can fast forward, you couldn't jump anywhere. You had to fast forward and rewind, right? I mean, now they have K-dramas, but I remember Thai dramas. All the love stories, it was great. So with that being said, we were earning money. So in 1992, my parents moved from Merced to Fresno. So again, for those that are not from California, Fresno is another hour south of Merced. And that is actually where the Hmong New Year is held, in Fresno. They opened their first store there, the first Asia supermarket, which was located on Belmont Avenue. They actually left all the kids behind in Atwater, okay? So at the age of 15, 16, 17, and 18, we were home alone in Atwater while my mom and dad were in Fresno trying to earn a living to raise us. So we raised ourselves. I raised my younger brother and sisters, okay? But my parents, they didn't get to live in that nice house like we did in Atwater. They lived in the little shack, 1 bedroom, 1 bathroom shack, next door to the store. And every night they would close that gate up, lock it up, and go to bed. And every weekend we would travel from Atwater to Fresno to work the weekends. Then every Sunday night, we would go home, get ready for school. So we went to school Monday through Friday in Atwater, came back down on Friday night to work, and then came back home again. So that's what we did. We worked and we worked. So I graduated from high school in 1995. And then from there, my parents moved the whole family to Fresno. And that's where I attended Fresno State. In 1995 also, my parents moved from that little store to our new store, our new location, which is 26,000 square feet at 4818 East Tulare Street. And that became the biggest Hmong supermarket located in Fresno, known as Tala Chafong, okay? It's not Asian supermarket, it's Tala Chafong, okay? Also in 1995, they founded Hmong Union Trading Inc. As you can see, my parents, they love their Hmong community, right? Their store is called Asia Supermarket. Their next venture is called Hmong Union Trading. In short, we call it HUTI, H-U-T-I. This corporation was used to expand our business into major distributors of Asian goods across America, in Minnesota and Wisconsin. There we were able to send our products, our textile, our tools, our clothing, our food, our farm fresh produce from California. We're able to go out there to Minnesota, to Michigan, and Wisconsin, all those places. In November of 2002, they opened HUTI Produce, which was what I was just talking about, where they were able to send all these products out. HUTI Produce is a cold storage, and it's located in Sanger. And that is where we were able to connect to a lot of farmers, and we're able to use that connection to send out these produce to all these other states. In 2006, my husband and I were able to take over Asia's supermarket and do an extensive remodel of the store. We updated just about everything. We created a produce department, a meat department. We created a kitchen. So we created a lot of things that help Asia's supermarket grow. And I want to relate that later on to Hmong Lee USA and business in general. In 2010, we converted the cold storage into Hmong Center of Art and Museum. Again, everything related to Hmong, okay? So you guys talk about community and connection, and you will realize Mr. Lee right there, that's his entire life. He wants to connect and bring back this Hmong community that we have. And that is what he created, the Hmong Center of Art and Museum. It is open to the public, and it is all about the Hmong history. And with that same property, right next door, we created the Hmong Hall Rental. And that is to help serve the community who would like to hold social events and parties just like this. In 2023, just recently, my brother was able to acquire another piece of property, about 32 acres, called Rainbow Oaks Ranch. And again, this is a property, an extension of the Hmong Hall Rental, and is there to serve the community in their social needs. So as you can see, there's a lot of history regarding my parents. I'm talking about my mom and dad, that's all I talk about. But what you don't realize is their history is mine as well. Because every step of the way, every step that they took, we worked side by side with them. We were there during the heat. If you guys live here in California, you know we hit up to 100+ degrees. Imagine working, and I'm sure you guys can, there's lots of farmers out there. Imagine working in the 110-degree heat. Okay, we were selling at swap meets in the heat, in the rain, in the snow. So just like many of you and your children, life here in America was strange and different. But for every parent, there are children to help them along the way. So all you grandpas and grandmas and aunts and uncles out there, you got here with the help of your children as well, because they became your translators as well. And that's why I talk about my parents' history. I tell you about them, but it actually is also, like I said, my history. So parents needed the children just as much as the children needed them. So my siblings and I worked side by side with our parents. At first, cutting lawns, then swap meets. Then we moved to Fresno, and we worked at the store. So if you've ever been to Fong, it's a big store. Imagine that, 26,000 square feet, but there's only 5 employees. Mom, dad, sister, me, brother, okay? We're running the registers, we're stocking the shelves, we're cleaning everything. So imagine 5 people working the store. That is how we started. That's how we became who we are today. So that's how, we started learning our work ethics at a young age, and that's how we started to learn how to run a business. So in 1999, I graduated from Fresno State with a business degree. 2000, I married my husband. We have 3 children, and for those from Missouri, I say Missouri, but it is Missouri. My oldest daughter, you guys can count her in as a residence, as a Hmong residence there in Missouri. She is going to the University of Central Missouri in Warrensburg, okay? That is where my oldest daughter is going. My 2 younger are still in high school. So as I mentioned before, Patrick and I currently own Asia's Supermarket. We bought it back in 2006, and it has grown exponentially. Like I said, we were able to create a meat department, a produce department, a deli. But like Uncle said before, nobody knows who I am. I'm the background, but Mr. and Mrs. Lee are the face of Asia's supermarket. You don't know that store is Tala Gaoshaba, okay? It is Tala Jafong, okay? So just so you know, I am the background, but those two are the face of Asia's supermarket. And I know you know, because you don't know it as Asia's supermarket. So, but in order for my store to run, we have a team of employees that help us run this business. We no longer are 5 employees. We are 50 plus employees. We employ over 50 people, mostly Hmong. 99% of them are Hmong people, okay? And as an employer, we have to appreciate all the hard work they do, because without them, there's no us, okay? It goes full circle. Without them, there's no us. Without us, there's no them, okay? So with what I'm just trying to say and everything that I'm talking about, the knowledge I want to share to you in running a business, there are a few things that you should do or you should work at. And the very first thing that you should know is everything in this world is a business. No matter how much you say this is a nonprofit, or this is a hospital, or I'm just a teacher, or I'm just a doctor, that is a business, okay? Very important. Second thing is your credit score is very important. It is so important because you need to go back home and teach your children these things. That credit score is very important, because without a good credit score, you cannot borrow money to progress, okay? The last thing you need is a business plan. Business plan is basically the format of how you want to run your business, just like how Hmong Lee USA has a plan. That is what you need for your business. As I mentioned before, everything is a business, and not all businesses are the same. But the core of how to run a business is, for example, how do you make money? How does Hmong Lee USA going to make money? You guys are a nonprofit, I understand, but you need money to be able to hold these conventions and conferences. So that is something the treasurer, the fundraisers, and the committee themselves have to work together to figure out. How do you keep your people happy? That's another question. And what is your cost? How much did this whole convention cost? Those are things as a business person they need to think about. So like I said, it doesn't matter what you're doing, but everything's a business. The example before, a teacher. You think a teacher, I'm just going to go teach. Yeah, you're going to go teach. But a teacher works for a company. That company is a school district. The school district is run by a superintendent and a governing board. So money has to come from somewhere. It can come through donations, it can come through grants, it can come through the government. So those are questions that you have to ask yourself as a business owner in any parts of the world, in any field. And it's like I said before, there are many working parts of a school, and that's where you need money to pay your teachers and your administrators. And it's the same for hospitals, for doctors, for nail salons, for restaurants, and like I said, for nonprofits. So even if your business is a nonprofit, you have a mission and a goal, and that's why there's a business plan. You have to keep your people happy. You have to pay your bills. You have to pay the cost of running this business, just like you have to pay the cost of running this nonprofit. The paper you printed on, it costs money. The place you rented here, it costs money. So you can't think of it as a nonprofit and I'm just gonna ask for donations. You gotta go out there and figure out the cost and how much you need to cover it. and how much you need for the next convention. So don't just think about how much is it going to cover this cost this time, because we need to roll over and move into the next convention, the next conference. So with that being said, we talk about businesses and even a doctor. A doctor, he went to school to help patients. He didn't go to school and think about, well, today I'm going to help this patient, but how am I going to charge this patient? That's not what he went to school for. He went to school to help this patient. He didn't go to school to learn how to run a business. So being a business is what everything is. So with that being said, I have a lot of young people come up to me. Oh, I don't know what I want to do in my life. I don't know I don't know if I want to be a teacher. I don't know this and that. And I said, if you are a person who is unsure, you're not passionate about something, you're not going to be a doctor, you're not going to be an astronaut, you're not going to be a lawyer, getting a degree in business, because everything is a business. And like I said, the same thing can be said about Hmong Lee USA. There's this president/boss, right? There's a secretary/assistant. There's a treasurer/bookkeeper. All these people are needed to make this organization run. So you need to think about these things in a business sense, is how to make this Hmong Lee USA successful. Because nonprofits are business as well. So the next thing I want to move into is your credit score, right? I don't think when we came to the US here, we knew about credit score. I don't think our children really understand about credit score. So these are things we need to teach our children, is that you need to show the world, you need to show the banks that you can pay your bills, okay? Because if you can't pay your bills, they're not going to loan you the money. And there's lots of history, I want to say, in people saying, I have my money underneath the mattress, or I buried my money in the backyard. Well, the banks don't know you have money underneath your mattress, and the banks don't know that you bury your money in the backyard. And when you die, I don't know where to go dig for that money, okay? So you guys need to remember that your credit score is very important. And that is one of the reasons why I was able to purchase Asia's supermarket from my parents. Okay, the word is purchase. They did not hand it to me. This is a business transaction. We were able to buy the business from my parents because of our credit score. The banks were able to look at us and say, hey, these people, they pay their bills on time. These people, they're making money. They have a history working as a retail supermarket owner. So I have been very lucky in that sense that I've been able to purchase Asia's supermarket and be able to bring it to where it is today. I mean, you can borrow money from your friends and family, but even your friends and family are going to ask you, how are you going to pay them back? Okay, so those are things that you need to think about as a future business owner or as some endeavor you're going to move into. So you need to think about everything as a business. You need to think about your credit score. And the last thing that I really want everybody to know is a business plan. So I see Hmong Lee USA's brochure, their pamphlet. There's a plan there, yes. And every business needs to have a plan. So the first thing that you need to have is a statement of purpose, which explains what you want to do with your business or organization. Why are you creating this entity and what goals you're trying to achieve? So for example, Asia Supermarket's goal is to be a one-stop shop for all our Southeast Asians. We want to provide excellent customer service. We want to provide unique cultural merchandise. We want to provide fresh meats and produce. We want to create an environment that all the customers of all ethnic would enjoy. We want to reward our customers so that they would keep coming back with our loyalty points program. The second thing a business plan needs is a detailed description of their products and services. What will your business provide? Well, Asia Supermarket provides brand canned food from Southeast Asia. We provide meats and vegetables. We provide Hmong traditional fabric and craft. And we provide cultural tools. So those are things that we specialize in that makes people come to our store. We're not just your generic general Asian market. We provide specific things that entices you to come back to our store. The next thing you want to write about is an executive summary. Who are your owners? Who are your people? Whoever is investing in your business needs to know who you are, what you did in your life, how you became who you are, and what you're bringing into this business. And this is where the banks are going to want to know if you're a good person or not. The next thing is a business history. What are you doing in your life? What experiences that you have? As I explained before, my history is what allowed me to be able to buy this business from my parents. The bank didn't just approve somebody random and said, oh yeah, this person, she deserves the store. They looked at my history, they looked at my experience, they looked at the supermarket industry, they looked at my credit score, and that is my business history that was able to allow me to buy this business. Another thing is your personnel and organization. Who is in this business? Who is helping you run this business? Your target market. Who are you going to sell this product to? Just like Hmong Lee USA, your target market is the Hmong Lees. But I would highly suggest not just the Hmong Lee older generation, like Uncle Yes said earlier. You guys need to promote out to the younger generation, the younger Hmong Lees out there, to bring them in. And you guys need to think about creative ways to entice them to come to these conventions, to these conferences, so that the younger generation will know and learn and realize that they need to connect again with their Lee families. So that's very important about your target market. And the competitors out there, who are your competitors? So I was kind of thinking about this when I was sitting over there. Who are your competitors? Obviously, all the other Hmong clans. And I say that in the sense of your Hmong Lee daughters, okay? Because in tradition, when your daughter marries, she becomes their family. So you kind of lost somebody there, right? So those are your competitors right there. You have to think about how do we keep our daughters here? Because as you can see, all your wives, all your nieces, all your daughters, they are the backbone of this clan. So I want you to think about that too. Not only do you need to entice your sons back, but you need to also embrace your daughters who may not be marrying, who obviously has to marry outside of the family, and they're considered no longer Lees, but they still are in their hearts of hearts. And that is why I am still here, because I am a Lee. My mom and dad, So you got to think about those things of how to entice your young men back and how to keep your young ladies here helping you as well. And that goes to how do you entice these people back? How do you we entice our customers with our loyalty points. They love our loyalty points. Every dollar you spend is a dollar you get back in the store. So people love those points and they want to come back and spend those points. That is how we try to keep our people shopping at our store. And we want to let them know that we are part of the community. So that's how our marketing goes. And with that being said, the core items of starting a business is a business plan, your credit score, and I don't remember the first thing, but it's definitely something that we all need to know, is that everything is still a business. So Asia's Supermarket, as I end my speech up here, Asia's Supermarket started out just a mom and pop store, very small store. Like I said, we used to have just the family working there from 8 to 7 every day, 8 to 7. But today we've grown over to over 50 employees. We follow our business plans. And one of those components of our statement of purpose is cultural and community involvement. And that is why we've created the Hmong Lee Foundation, is to help the future of our children's education. We've given out a few scholarships last year through the Hmong Lee Foundation. And that is why Asia Supermarket is also, is also a very proud sponsor at the Hmong Lee USA. So in closing, I'm very happy to present a check to Hmong Lee USA. Thank you very much, you guys.